Hi, I'm Kiki.
And I'm Kemi.
And you're listening to
Your Advisors Will See You Now, a podcast that will help you to figure out all of your options for life after high school.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Your Advisors Will See You Now. If you are new here, we are doing one of our relevant rambles, and those are our episodes where we just talk about things that are relevant to college life, sometimes high school life. If it's relevant in the media, we just try to talk about things that are relevant to what our listeners are maybe dealing with. So today, hopefully we have either parents or maybe you're a senior yourself or a senior preparing to graduate from college. We're talking about things that you should be doing as you prepare to graduate from college. Of course, you want to enjoy yourself, but you got to stay on task so you can get out of there with no issues. So we wanted to share this article we found on LinkedIn. And of course, we'll share it in the show notes. But just 7 tips that we recommend that you all focus on, that we thought this article was really good in what she explained. We wanted to share them with you all. So I'll let Kemi, I'll let you start. I talked a lot just now.
No worries. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that stood out for me just right off the bat reading this was she says, I can't tell you how many seniors I've met and talked with who waited until the last minute to begin thinking about life after graduation. Please don't let this be you. And that was me. I was like, why are you coming at me like that? That was me. And I think the thing about it is like, one, again, this is a new transition in your life. It's kind of hard to, it's your first time doing it, knowing exactly how to prep. And 2, I just remember senior year being a lot. My goal was just to graduate, making sure I had my GPA was right. I also had my senior thesis class that I had to pass. If I didn't pass that thesis class, I was not graduating, period. Yeah. So that takes so much time and energy in regards to balancing everything else that there is. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was a little hard. I was like, oh yeah, I need to really put that next step in. I was looking at different master's programs to go into, but honestly, it wasn't enough because going to graduate school is still another level where you might not get as much aid. And it's like, so how are you going to pay for it? And I was already an out-of-state student. So it was like, am I going to continue living in North Carolina? Am I going to go back to Rhode Island? If you're going to go to another state, what job are you going to have in place? Can you afford living? I'm not going to be living on campus. So yada, 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 yada. All that to say is you really do need to start planning and thinking early. I would probably even say start mapping out mid-junior year what your next steps are going to be. So that way you have like a comfortable transition, And one of the tips that this author puts here in the article is job searching. And you have to start job searching. If you know that you're able to land a career with your with the current degree that you're obtaining, then definitely start looking for jobs, and even still look for jobs, because if you're thinking about going to a master's program, start thinking about that. Start prepping your resume and definitely hook up with your career center like ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Let them know, okay, like this is kind of what I'm looking for. It's along the lines of what's my degree or where I want to go next. So hook up with your career center. They can try and help you. Most colleges have a career center. They can try and help you gain some clarity on where to apply. If they know of any open positions, they can probably connect you as well with some alumni that have taken your degree and where they're at, so you can network that way. So definitely take advantage of your career center and job searching too early on, looking at companies that you're interested in, location, and all those other things.
Absolutely. And I don't remember if Elon, did they have a career fair? I don't remember. I'm sure they had something like where they brought employers to campus. I think they did that. Like they brought employers to campus a lot. So in addition to that point you just made, don't ignore the emails from your career center, because I'm sure I was just like, oh, whatever. But those are emails that they're sharing with you who they're bringing to campus, and they probably do it weekly, and it's probably more than one employer, every week. So even if it's not something you're interested in, I still say it's good practice to go up and like understand how to give your resume, how to talk to an employer, ask some questions about what are they offering. So you get a sense as to what they're offering in their company, and that may help you understanding what you're looking for in an employer. But I would say don't ignore those emails, because that's a good way for you to start seeing what is out there in the employer world. But the next point is, and Kemi, you already mentioned this too about graduate school. If are you planning to go to graduate school? If so, start applying. Don't wait till the last minute. And it's okay if you think you want to do a gap year, which we've mentioned for high school seniors. It's fine to do a gap year for college seniors as well. It's okay to take time because some programs may require, maybe you need to take another class. Maybe you're going into the healthcare field, you need some patient care hours. It's totally fine to take time. But I think what the author is saying, what we're also, stating too, is just be prepared. Have an idea of if you want to even go to graduate school. Because I remember my little story. I think I knew I wanted to go to graduate school, just not quite sure what yet. And so when I did figure out what I wanted to go for, I was literally rushing to apply, like rushing to take my GRE, which is not cheap. So don't do that. Like study, prepare for it. But I was rushing to do my GRE. I remember I was asking for reference letters probably a month before I was applying, which is not enough time to give your recommendation or your references. It's not enough time to give them to write because they have lives in their work too. So you really want to prepare yourself for graduate school. Just have a plan. Think about programs you want to go to. And I agree with your point too. You can be doing that junior year. Don't wait till the last month of senior year to be like, oh, I'm applying to graduate school. You've honestly probably missed the deadlines by that point. But to that point, I'm sure there are early deadlines. So you can't wait until your senior, like the last semester of your senior year to apply because they're probably having deadlines maybe in your first, your first semester of senior year. So just be aware of deadlines, just plan, just start thinking about it. And again, if you want to wait, then that's fine. I wanted to say too, you were talking about paying for graduate school. Go back to our episode with our friend Brenna, where she shared about how she paid for her graduate education or how she didn't have any debt when she finished graduate school. So there are ways that you can go to graduate school, maybe, on a full scholarship, or you're not paying a whole lot of money. So just do your research, please, is all we're saying when it comes to paying for graduate school.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was a large piece that I missed, and I wish that I did that when I was looking at my grad schools. I'll touch on the next 2 points just because I did touch on this one earlier. So senior thesis or capstone project. So again, you're probably going to have something of that related to your degree program when you're in graduate school. What might be more beneficial is to see if it's possible for you to take that during the fall semester of your senior year. So that way you can get that out the way. And then in the spring, you can still do more planning for life after graduating. I was in like this kind of position where I couldn't do that for my degree because there was like this one professor that was literally failing people for a senior thesis. And she was the only one available in the fall. And I was like, I'm not about to pay for this credit twice. So I waited till spring where there was another senior thesis. And it was also more of my interest because we were studying young adulthood. So I was like, I'm just going to take the gamble. The other teacher, they say like, it's actually a great class. It's interesting. And you'll pass. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't you didn't feel as though the professor was trying to fail you. That's what the other one was giving off vibes for. So I was like, I'm not doing that. But if you can, try and do your senior thesis in the fall of senior year.
Yes.
The next point here is your graduation plan. So definitely start mapping that out early. And what that can look like is if you are already attending out-of-state school, do you want to still stay in that state? Do you want to go to a different state? If you're going to go to a different state, where are you going to live? Are you going to be able to afford it? If you're going to a graduate school program, what's the money going to look like? Are you going to have scholarships? So there's all those other things that are going to come into play. Are you trying to do an internship after that? So you need to start thinking of those things and setting a plan ahead of time so you're not rushing last minute. And then you're kind of kicking yourself later like, man, I wish I should have, could have, would have, could have saved more money this way, could have planned more accordingly this way. Or just take a break if you need to so you can recalibrate, rethink things so you're not rushing and possibly making a decision that's not in the best interest for yourself.
Mm-hmm. The next point is about post-graduation goals, which I think everything we've kind of said encompasses all of that. Something I just want to read a part of it. I want to read this like little blurb from the article, but it says, this time in your life is about embracing independence. Carefully consider how your decisions may impact your parents or loved ones. Set a couple of SMART goals and work toward them. Now, at this point, I have a few words for this, but it says you don't want to be that 30-year-old still at home because you were lazy and not proactive. plan to set the future you up for independence and success. Now, sidebar, if you are 30 years old, still living at home, that's okay. But make sure it's expensive out here. If you don't need to want to rent or buy a house, then that's fine. But I think, while you're at home, be saving, be making smart financial decisions. Yeah, exactly. Help your parents out. Don't just be living at home and not helping your parents with bills and things like that too. But
right, and not having no intention of leaving at one point. Don't be couch thinking you're gonna couch search till you're 50. Just have a plan.
Exactly. Yeah. That's all. So I was gonna say it's okay to be 30 years old at home, but yeah, exactly. Just have a plan. But that point is true. Just, it's about becoming independent, making decisions that will impact yourself, but thinking about your family too. Are you wanting to move across the country? Are you wanting to go to a different country? Just think about those things. And again, I would say don't wait to be thinking about this until, May before you graduate or April before you graduate. Definitely think about these things ahead of time. Junior year is a great place to really start. But these are things that you should be, that as a senior, you're kind of already settled in. Maybe I'll say it that way. You kind of already know some of your plans.
And this next point is so crucial. And honestly, right now, I think I might just save this clip and put it on one of our TikToks. But it's networking. If there's nothing else that you can do in college, it's definitely network. And you can do it very, very easily. And sometimes it's not about what you know, it truly is about who you know. Now, we've definitely had people on our podcast that were talking about the connections that they made and that they were able to get jobs that they were in now. So some simple ways that you can network, even if you're a person that you feel might be an introvert or you're just not into putting yourself out there, here's some simple tips that you can do starting freshman year when you're in college is going to office hours, talking to your teachers one-on-one, telling them about your goals, and just checking in on them every once in a while. So that way you stay in their memory because they can reach out to you of any job openings, any internships or research opportunities that could come up. So that's one easy way for you to get notice of that. Another way for you to network is obviously with your classmates, people that are within your same degree. Go and try to meet people in your classes, just introduce yourself or when you're in group projects, make sure you're keeping them in connection on LinkedIn or having their numbers and having those conversations of, oh, what are you interested in doing? What kind of internship are you doing? I haven't thought about that. Those are easy connects that you can establish, okay? And then also just even looking back at your family or if you're part of a local church, those people are also networks as well. You never know if they might know someone. So if you're junior year and you're hey, anybody, can you keep your ears to the ground if you know of anyone that is hiring for the summer, maybe if it's just a regular summer job or anyone who's hiring for a local or a law office or anything that needs some administrative work. Those are easy ways for you to try to get a job. You never know who knows who or who has a job available for you. Very simple and should not be overlooked. So
last point that we're going to share from the article is about financial planning, which I think speaks for itself. One of the biggest things that this article emphasizes, if you have student loans, just understanding what that means. So when you graduate from college, before you graduate, I should say, they're going to have an exit interview and they're going to talk about what your payments will kind of, I think it's basically saying what loans you owe, what your payments maybe look like. I don't remember. I know I went to this interview and I was just signing stuff. Go in there, understand what you're signing. I would say before you even go, just look up what an exit interview is. So if you have questions for the financial aid person at your school, you can ask those questions there and they can maybe explain it to you a lot better. But don't just go in and start signing things without any knowledge, but just understanding what your loan situation looks like and what does your money look like. If you're about to graduate and you have no money, you probably can't move to another city somewhere. You're probably going to be back with your parents or some family member. So just reassess your financial situation and reassess your money so you know what you can do when you graduate, maybe what you need to hold off on so you can build your finances up. But yeah, money is something super important. We've talked about it so many times, but just really understanding how to use your money, how your money, how to save, how to budget, how to put money away, things like that is really important to know, before you even graduate from college. But especially when you go out into the world, you don't want to be, buying your first apartment and then you don't have the money to pay for it because you're too eager. So just be wise with your money.
Yeah. And y'all, we just hope that you found this episode helpful. As as I always have these conversations with my nephew, I'm like, look, I just want you to be better than me, or just make better decisions than I made. And I just want you to, and at the bottom line, I just want him to live the lifestyle that he's picturing in his head. He's not out here saying he wants to have a yacht and a mansion. Like, what he wants, what he sees in his near future is definitely attainable. So I'm just like, you have to start making steps and plan it in order to go after it. Things don't just fall on your lap anymore. Things are not easily scheduled for you anymore. Like things used to be, in education, all that stuff usually is scheduled for you from kindergarten all the way through college, once you get into college too. So now you have to actively start planning on your own, seeking some wisdom and guidance from others, and then you have to put your motivation behind it. So we just share all this stuff to you as a free podcast resource, and we hope that you just take that and run with it. I guess I'll do a shameless plug here. If you feel as though you need a partner with you in that, or just trying to figure out your thoughts and lay a map in front of you, I also offer life coaching as well. So you can hit me up at coachkemi@gmail.com. That's coach with a K. KOACHKEMI@gmail.com. But if you also want some free resources, follow our TikTok, follow our Instagram, check out our webpage at youradvisorswillseeyounow.com, and send us some emails for more information and wisdom that you want about life after high school or prepping for careers. And we will see you in the next one.
See you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening to the latest episode of Your Advisors Will See You Now. Please make sure to follow us on all of our social media pages and check out our website. Take a look at the show notes below.
And please make sure to subscribe and share this podcast. Also, show us some love and please leave a 5-star review. Catch you next time.
See ya.